Kraken Up, the Carpy's podcast, where we talk everything Carpies. Here's your host, Derek Carpoletti.
Hey everybody, hope everything's going well. We're here for episode 4 of the Kraken Up podcast, Carpy's Print Company podcast. My name is Derek. I'm the co-owner of Carpy's Print Company. Today we have a pretty special guest. We got Anthony Belgiovene. Is that right?
Belgiovene.
Belgiovene, all right. He is our recent brand ambassador for Carpy's Print Co., a kart racer. How long have you been into kart racing? Like, what got you into it? How long you been doing it?
Yeah, so when I was like 10 years old, I'd say, I went to a track called Grand Prix New York in Mount Kisco, and I was just driving a little bit indoors there. They had some gas carts. Then I got a little older. During when COVID hit, there's a track 20 minutes away from me, Oakland Valley Race Park, and we started doing rental carts there. They were like, hey, you should bump up a little bit, go into a performance cart, they called it. And then I tried that, and then next thing I knew, I had my own cart. And that's been going on for like 4 years now.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, how old are you now? I mean, you're incredibly young still.
Yeah, 17 years old. I'll turn 18 in June.
Oh wow. Yep. So you're getting after it. I see you were just in North Carolina last week or the week before at Charlotte. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how that weekend went?
Yeah, so it was it's called Cup Karts North America. It was their spring nationals, and they had over 500 entries between all the classes, which was, I believe, if it's not their biggest, it was their second biggest race they've ever held. It was a crazy experience. It was awesome to be a part of. There were 89 drivers in my class. It was wet like all day on Friday, which was our practice day. And then on Saturday, it was warm-up, qualifying, and then we had 2 heats. So in the warm-up, we were like, all right, it should be dry, but it was still wet. So that didn't help us out a lot. And then qualifying was dry, and it was only 4 laps long. So I had to learn a dry track. Ended up 56th. And then in the heats, I just went forward and ended up starting the main 45th on Sunday, and then got up to 33rd and had pace to be inside the top 25.
Yep. And those fields are pretty incredibly close, typically, right? Not a big split.
No, it's not a big split at all. It's an incredibly tight field, especially in the LO206. I mean, like, the draft is super important there. If you mess up a little bit, you're going to get passed by 4 or 5 carts. It's one of the hardest types of karting that there is.
Yeah. Yeah, I have my uncles race some of the senior classes. I don't think they were at Charlotte that week, but I know they go to Vegas, Daytona, and GoPro quite a bit. So I honestly don't know the difference between the classes, but I'm assuming that's just like an older, heavier class than what you're running.
There's different age groups, and then based on weight and sometimes motor.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So have you been running that class most of the time, or is that a new class for you?
It's new-ish. I started it the beginning of 2023. My track had kind of had it. They had a different class where it was a spec kart, and everybody had to have the same chassis. So I wasn't doing it, and then they went to an open class where you could race any type of chassis with that motor. So I started that in the beginning of 2023, and then that's where like my first race was CKNA Northeast, and then that was where I got my first win. And then then I raced it all last season. Ended up getting second in my points championship after missing a few races at my local track, and then went to Daytona Kart Week last December. That was my first national race, and then just went to Spring Nats.
Yep. And the Daytona Week, that's like right around Thanksgiving time, right?
Oh, that's a little after Christmas.
Christmas, yep, Christmas.
So yeah, so we ended up leaving like the day after Christmas or 2 days after Christmas.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, my uncles, they would always leave like on Christmas Eve to go down for that. Pretty much every year for my whole life. But yeah, So you mentioned your local track. What are some of your local track? Are you near? I forget the name of the track, but I know Marco owns it. I can't think of the
New
name.
York
New
Race
York.
Complex.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not near to there. I'm like 4 hours ish from there, I think. We
Oh, okay.
might go there this year. Some of our friends are gonna go there, so we were thinking about maybe making a trip there.
Yeah, it's a
But
super nice place.
I've heard that, and I've heard that it's a fast track, and I definitely want to go to a pretty fast track.
Yeah, yeah, we've been up there a few times. My grandfather, who was actually the probably like the pioneer of our family's like karting history, he passed away in 2020, and they had a memorial race up there, and that was the last time I had been to that track. But it was a super awesome turnout, and cool, pretty cool, immaculate place. So, and we had done some printing for the track, like apparel and stuff too. So pretty
That's
cool
awesome.
place. I definitely, if you can get out that way, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I'd plan on it.
Um, so I know you have a family based team. I've kind of been watching that. I see your brothers run. Is it like a 3-wheeler, 4-wheeler type thing
Yeah, he did
series?
a three-wheeler race. Yeah, he does three-wheeler racing. He did that last night. He actually got his first win last night,
Yeah, I saw
so that
that.
was really cool to see. Um, and that was only his third race doing that. And then he also races karts. He does the LO206 like I do, and then he did his first national race in December as well. And then he races the mini Swift class. He raced that last year, but he's got to go up to a full size kart this year, so he'll be racing junior,
Yeah, and you said he's your
which will be
younger
cool.
brother.
Yeah, he's 12.
Oh, okay, yeah. So who's faster?
That's a good one. Um, Him and I haven't really raced each other a whole lot
Yep.
because of just the age difference and the class difference. But him and I have been able to we've been able to race 206 a little bit together because that's like 12 years old to pretty much as old as you want to race. So
Hmm.
we've been back and forth. I think I've beat him more than he's beaten me,
Good
but
answer.
it's always fun racing against him.
Yeah. Um, so a little bit more about your family and the whole racing group. Who all does what? Who has what responsibilities? Do you do the work on the cart yourself, or do you have one of your family members that's kind of the engineer type person?
Yeah, so my stepdad Mark, he like kind of runs the family team. It's called a three generation racing team. Um, So yeah, he runs the team basically. He helps bring the carts to the track. He does most of the work on the carts. Um, I help out where I can. I'm learning more and more about how to work on it myself. Um, but I help with like doing tire pressures, chain stuff, just getting the cart like ready, cleaning it when it comes off the track. Um, so he does that, and then my grandfather Josh, he also helps out with the cart. Him, Mark, and I, we were the ones that went to Charlotte. So it's basically us. We do like that's like the main part of the team, and then I have like my other grandparents and my other parents. So
Mhm.
that's basically like the main part of it.
That's cool, and they all kind of work together. That's pretty cool, pretty cool
Yeah,
deal. Yeah.
yeah.
Um. So you mentioned when the carts come off the track, you do a little bit of the prep cleanup work. What is like a day-to-day routine for you when you're going to the race or at the track? How do you prepare for an upcoming race? Do you do any like sim or watch any film, especially if you're going to a new track?
Yeah, so like especially for a new track, I try to reach out to people that I know that have been to the track before and see if they'll give up any of their GoPro footage to see if I can watch that. If they don't, then I'm always on YouTube watching a lot of footage. Getting ready for Daytona, I watched a ton and it definitely helped out. Getting ready for Spring Nats, I also watched a lot and that showed. Um, I have a sim that I made out of an old go kart chassis. Uh, and I connected like the real pedals to my pedals so I can like use actual go kart pedals. Um, a lot of the tracks aren't on the app that I use called Kart Racing Pro, but I mean I get like a good gist of it when they are on there, just to try to get a basic understanding.
Yeah. The kart racing pro, is that I'm assuming somewhat similar to like an iRacing format?
It's kind of similar. I mean, it's a lot. There's not as good graphics,
Hmm.
but it's like kind of similar. You have to download a lot of mods like that. You have to do like separately, so it's
Hmm.
not as easy as iRacing, but it's definitely a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah, I did some iRacing for a year or so, and that definitely, I thought, so I do a lot of RC racing, and the the thing that appealed to me with iRacing was I could just go home and do it. I didn't have to travel anywhere. I didn't have to do any
Yeah,
work. Just turn the computer on and go. But that's the problem with it. Is it's just too easy and it'll consume your whole entire life.
yeah,
um,
yeah. I mean, a
but
lot of people have gotten their start on iRacing,
yeah, yeah.
so like it gives you a good name for yourself if you can get up there and get a ride
Hmm.
in real cars.
Yeah. Um, so what is your, I guess, biggest accomplishment, whether it's a win or just like a cool moment so far in your career?
Probably my win at CKNA Northeast, which was last year, 2023. My first race of the season, and it was my first ever time in a race situation in my 206.
Hmm.
It was really special. I mean, it was at my home track. I missed the day before because I had other things going on. So I just showed up. Nobody really knew who I was. There were a bunch of national guys there, and it was a regional level event. And I showed up to my home track, and I didn't have a lot of speed in the beginning of the day, and then like it all clicked. And by the time I knew it, I was up right in the front.
That's awesome. Was it a close battle, or did you kind of lag it out at the end?
Um, yeah, it was really close. I think I ended up getting the lead with like 4 laps to go, and then I got moved out of the way with like I think with 4 laps to go still. Yeah, I got the
Hmm.
lead, and then 2 turns later, got completely moved out of the way, almost put the cart into the barrier, and then got back up, and then I was in fourth at that time, and then made the pass for third with 1 lap to go, and then first got a penalty for what he did to me, and then second got DQ'd. So then that's how that happened. But I still drove from ninth to first. I had the speed, I know that, and it wasn't just on the technicality. I knew that I had the win either way.
Hey, either way, a win's a win. They're hard to come by, so
Yeah,
you
I'll
take it how
take
you can
it.
get it.
Yeah.
Um, so who were your role models, like maybe before you got into racing yourself, and maybe now currently, whether it be someone that races locally, professionally, or even maybe even outside of NASCAR or outside of racing in general?
My biggest role model is Kyle Busch. Not a
Yeah.
lot of people like him, but he's definitely my biggest role model. Uh, just his attitude to always keep fighting and never giving up, like through the thick and the thin. I mean, that's the type of driver you need to be.
Yeah. Is
Um,
that where
and
the 54 comes from?
yeah, it came from his like when I started racing, 18 was taken.
Yeah.
So I went down to his Xfinity number, and that's just been my number.
Yeah. That's awesome. Um, so
Yeah.
I did see that you're a pretty big NASCAR fan, at least based on some of your social stuff. Um, who do you got this week at Bristol? I mean, besides Kyle Busch. I mean, he did get beat
I
by Christian
honestly,
Eckes last night.
yeah, that was a little disappointing. Um, I don't know. It's been like crazy like throughout the season so far. I mean, there's been a lot of changes with who's up front. The Fords seem to not have a lot of speed with their new car. Um, but I have to say, I don't know. Like, I can't tell you a driver specifically, but I could say that it's Chevy is probably going to be up front, and Chevy's probably going to win the race.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Bristol?
Yeah, I went there a few years ago.
Yeah. Probably one of the coolest tracks for sure.
It's a
For
really
like
cool
a
track. You
personal
don't you
experience.
don't like yeah, you don't like realize how steep the banking is at that track until you actually go there. Because like
Hmm.
on TV and in video games, it doesn't seem like the banking is super steep, but it really is. It's a really cool track.
Yeah. We went. My brother worked for one of the super late model teams. in like 2017, and we had went out and watched, and we got to go like in the infield area for the weekend, and like from the inside barrier of like the corners, the banking is just like unreal. Like
Yeah,
when
that's
we
really
had a
cool.
chance to like walk up the banking, and you almost had to like hold onto the wall to even not fall back down the banking. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, um, what are some of your goals in racing? Do you plan to move forward as you grow as a racer and you age a little more? Are you looking to get into a full size car, or an Indy car, a sprint car? Or are you looking to I know people run karts forever too. Is that something you're looking to do, or
I mean, I think that it's every racer's dream to try to get into a real car at one point or another. Um, with how I started a little late. Everybody starts when they're like 5 years old. I started late. I don't think that at this point I'm going to be able to get into a car as a full time job. It's just not like in the books right now. Um, it's also really expensive. Like you have to really get your name out there to do that, and you have to run like tons and tons and tons of national races to be able to do that, just to try to get attention. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'd like to. I'm probably gonna stick in karts for now, and if the opportunity arises, I'm obviously gonna take it to go into a car. I'd like to try to get into a Miata because that's how a lot of
yeah,
karters transition. They go into Miatas. Um, so yeah, I mean, I have like a different plan for what I'm actually going to do as a job, and then I'm going to do some karting on the side, and then if I get the opportunity, go into a car.
yeah. Do you have any? So, do you have any plans for like a higher education, like in a college or a trade school format? And how do you kind of balance your school and I guess if you have a like a regular work life balance, how do you manage that stuff now?
Yeah, so I committed to the University of Hartford, and I'll be going
Mhm.
there in the fall. I'm majoring in the radiologic technology program, and I
Oh,
want
wow.
to be like an X-ray tech, MRI, CAT scan. So that'll be like the main plan. As far as like balancing work, like schoolwork with racing, I'm pretty lucky because my racing, like the main racing I did last year, is only 20 minutes away from my house.
Hmm.
So I don't have to travel. I don't really have to miss tons of weekends this year. It'll be a little bit different because I'm going to be traveling a little bit more, but that's not super bad. Um, I just try to get my work done as soon as the work is released. Just get it done, get it out of the way, and then if I know I have a race coming up, I'm going to get it all done. So like Friday night, so then I don't have to deal with a Saturday. I don't have to deal with Sunday.
Right. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Um, I'm not a big school person, so I would have procrastinated and did horribly in that situation.
Yeah, there's been
Um,
times where I do that, and then I'm like, oh, I have a race.
yeah, yeah. And then I'm assuming your parents probably hold you to a some kind of standard where obviously school's important. So if you're not performing in that, I'm sure the racing gets halted too. So that's probably a motivator.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
But do you have any questions for us? I know this is probably the first time we've got to really formally talk. Um, do you have
Yeah.
any questions for either me or just about Carpies in general?
Um, what was the main drive to start a company like this? Do you have like any other background in printing, or
Yeah.
well, like what was the
Um,
main reason you started Carpies?
yeah. So, like I mentioned, I'm not really a big student, and I was kind of forced into where our area is. We have a program called BOCES, and it's like a technical school, and they offer that in junior and senior year of high school. And to graduate, I was kind of forced to take one of those. And one of them was a graphic design program, and that kind of enlightened me into that world. I mean, I've always kind of been into art, etc. But it kind of showed me that there's like an avenue to do something with that type of skill as a career. And finished that. Actually, only took it as a senior, which is supposed to be a 2-year program, but I took it as a senior and was able to do well enough to graduate in just the 1 year. And then I ended up working for another local print shop for 5-6 years. Kind of moved through the ranks there. Kind of got bored with it, so I kind of started doing it on my own, and now we've been doing it independently for going on our 11th year now. So yeah, it's kind of a self-taught road, but we got there eventually.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, so speaking of Carpies, we do have some breaking news. I don't have a sounder for breaking news, but if I did, this is where it would be playing. We have, when this episode comes out, so when everyone's hearing it, on our website, carpies.com, we'll have official race merch for you. There'll be t-shirts, hoodies, hats, sticker packs, the whole gamut. I think engraved mugs, stuff like that. We'll implement an image here on the screen of a preview of the merch. So, and that'll be available all through 2024. So if anybody is interested in that, it'll be available. Have you ever had race merch done before?
No, I have not. So
No.
when you reached out to me and said you had something big, I was not expecting that. You were like, "Oh, I'll let you know
Yeah.
after Charlotte," and I found out, and I was super surprised. Like that was awesome. I did like for my first race, we did like our team name on it with like our name,
Mhm.
and that was about it. But something to this extent, no. And I've wanted to for a long time, and
Yeah.
when you did that, that was just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. That's like a primary um, part of our business is race apparel, but typically that's a lot of so a lot of the kart stuff we end up doing for the company is a lot of dirt oval karting. That's pretty big in our area. We have probably 4 or 5 tracks in like a 45-minute radius. So we do a lot of that, a lot of like dirt oval, like late models, modifieds. Um, like I mean, around here that's the thing. So we do a lot of that. We typically don't really do much karting like you do. The only stuff we've ever really done is the stuff for my uncles, and they're I don't even know how old they are. They're old. I'm gonna say mid 50s, early 60s probably. Still karting, still traveling all over. But they don't really care like about how cool things look or like um or then and they're not really social media savvy, so we don't really do a lot together just because there's no real benefit to it. But so this is pretty exciting to partner with someone with like kind of a new avenue in motorsports than we typically get to work in. So I figure if we could get you some merch, it would pull some more awareness our way in your field of racing. So I'm excited to get that dropped out.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know a lot of people that already want to buy some, so that's good. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
I
really
can't
excited
wait.
about that.
So you're obviously pretty active on social media. You're posting a lot. You're engaging a lot. You want to plug some of your channels? I know you have a YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of those platforms. You want to give those a plug in?
Yeah, so you can see my Instagram at Anthony B underscore racing. My Facebook is Anthony B Racing 54. My YouTube is Anthony B Racing 54. My Twitter is capital A and then capital B Belgiovene. And then my TikTok is Anthony B underscore racing. So
And I'm
yeah,
assuming you
I post.
go ahead.
What was that?
Go ahead.
Oh, I post everything about my races, my upcoming races, the results, uh, advertise my sponsors, help promote them. So you can see everything that I'm doing in racing on there.
Yeah, and you do a great job with that. I mean, it's not like repetitive, boring content either. You know, you change it up, you promote different brands. Like I was able to follow that whole Charlotte weekend. I wanted to watch some of that, but we were busy doing some commercial wraps, so I was kind of tied up that whole weekend. So, but the way you promote all your stuff on your social media, I really didn't even need to watch it. I knew everything that was happening as it was happening, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, you probably got more information on my Instagram and everything than you did watching the live stream, honestly. Because like on the live
Yes.
stream they only show like the front 10 guys. So
Yeah.
yeah, my social media is probably the best spot.
Well, Anthony, I appreciate you coming on. It was a good chat. As the season goes, maybe we can you shoot over your schedule. We can shoot down to one of the races this weekend. I know you're only 4-ish hours away, so I'm sure we'll at least be able to make out one of them. Maybe we can do some footage, and as the season goes, maybe we can even have you back on.
Yeah, I appreciate having me on, and definitely want to do one of these again. It was a lot of fun. It was my first time.
Awesome.
So,
Well, we'll chat soon, man.
thank you.
Yep. Later.
Bye.